Hey everyone, how's it going out there? I want to thank you in advance for taking the time to watch this video. As of course you know me on my Facebook page, I'm John Beauprez, and of course I'm Bob Beauprez's son, and Dad a few months ago announced that he was running for governor. And you know, although I've been surrounded by politics for pretty much most of my life, I haven't been too involved really up to this point. But something that always discouraged me about politics is that it never seemed like the message that the politicians wanted to get through never really happened, and it always came out convoluted. But even more importantly, it seems like it's very difficult for voters to get to know the candidate on a personal level. Now, although I'm very biased, because Bob is my dad, when he announced a few months ago, I felt obligated to take it upon myself to do what I could to get people to know the side of Dad that not everyone else knows. And I went around the state and I interviewed a bunch of different people, both former coworkers or people who had worked with Dad at the farm, who had been clients of Dad's, or who had been his employee. And I asked them to share a unique story about him and why they think that he would be good for Colorado, and why would he be a good, a good governor for all of us, and more importantly, why we can trust him with our future and trust him with the state that we all love. So what I put together here for you is just a couple of minutes of the tidbits, the highlight reel, so to speak, of what people said about Dad. And although I know nobody can ever know someone on the level of a son, I can honestly say from the bottom of my heart that Dad deserves to be governor of Colorado. Not deserves just because of the time that he's put into politics, put into our state, put into becoming the type of man he is, but because we all deserve someone like that. And although nobody sees eye to eye on one politician with everything, what you want more than anything for a politician, especially one in a position of power like governor, is to trust that person. Trust that they have the best interests of the state in mind whenever they're making decisions on a day-to-day basis. And I think that Dad does that. So thanks for checking out this short video. Share it, like it, tell me what you think, and vote for Bob. Have a good day. When you first started working at the bank, it was a much smaller company than what it grew into, and you were a tight-knit group of individuals, and that was before, a lot of the politics stuff started heating up. So what was it like, and what kind of boss was Dad like?
He was a good boss. It was like a small family because there were just a few of us that worked there. And so on Saturdays when I would come into work, and there's another story, I could bring the kids, I could bring my girls with me to work, and nothing was ever said. So it was kind of like you just brought your family to everything. There was one Saturday that I went into work trying to get caught up, and this was after we had remodeled, and Bob was sitting in his office, and he had a window right by the porch, and at that time the lobby wasn't open, and someone walked up on the porch, and Bob raises the window and hangs his head out the window to see what the person wanted. And they wanted to open an account. So your dad came to me and he said, "Man, you're not busy, are you?" And I said, "No, what you need?"
Exactly.
And he said, "Can you come open an account?" And so then it wasn't long after that, I don't think, that we opened on Saturdays so that we could take care of customers. But that was always his main thing, taking care of people. Even if we locked our doors at 5 o'clock, if somebody came to the door, he would go open the door and let them in. So sometimes you got off at 5, and sometimes you got off later.
Yeah, exactly.
But we stayed and we worked. And
why do you think, from your experience working at the bank and from knowing Dad for a long time, why do you think he would be a good governor for the state of Colorado?
I think he would be good because he's honest, he has values, and he has morals. And I think he would take those into that office and make the state of Colorado a better state to be in.
I'm a type of person, I believe, in dealing with people who say what they mean and mean what they say and live what they say.
Of course.
And Bob is one of those kinds of people. He's a strong, solid businessman. He's an effective leader. He's a good judge of people and characters. And one of the most interesting things about him is something that he relates from his own personal story on how his family got started, how your family got started.
Right.
And that some banker a long time ago, 2 or 3 generations ago, took the chance on your great-grandfather or your grandfather and opened up the opportunities in this country to your family that have led to the success that he's had. He's never forgotten that lesson, and he puts that lesson into practice in business. He judges people well, he reaches out to people, and he very, very selectively takes a chance with people. I know there were a couple of opportunities that I saw, and specific opportunities that I could talk about. I do know that when he talks about including people, before it was popular, his bank had a branch in a predominantly minority neighborhood in Northeast Denver when there were no other banks anywhere near there.
Yeah.
That was something. Now there are more banks in that part of town, but when it was not the popular thing to do, but was the right thing to do, and a good business decision to some, he did that. I remember that. He was very effective in bringing people together and having people focus on what are the things that we can build together, what are the things we believe in that make sense,
right,
regardless of what any differences we might have. Bringing in, and he spent a good deal of time building what we used to call a new majority.
right,
And that was a very serious effort that included Orientals, Hispanics, Blacks, Yiddish, conservatives,
right.
so that the old big tent philosophy that used to be a part of the Republican Party was something I believe in, something Bob believed in, and something Bob practiced as a Republican leader, not a soundbite, or not a conversation that he would have
Right.
off in the distance and show up in people's neighborhood on that election time.
As a lawyer, and you strike me as someone who really looks at the issues and looks at things objectively. And of course, being a Democrat and having the opportunity to look at both sides of the issue, what makes you feel good about supporting Dad for his run for governor?
Well, more than anything, I like your dad and I respect him. And even though there are, I'm sure, parts of the issues that we just don't see eye to eye on,
Mm-hmm.
I know that he's a good, caring family man who's, always been extremely kind and very giving. And I have no doubt that if he is successful in his bid, that he'll work very hard and do his very best to serve the people of Colorado.